Hey guys, it's Scott, and welcome back to another episode of Spin Magazine's Lip Service. I'm with my good buddies here, Palais Royale. What's up, guys?
Hi,
See you,
how you
man.
doing? Good
You
Happy
guys
to
look
be
great.
here.
You always look great. I can't get over it. I mean, do you wake up looking like this, or is this? I mean, you don't. You
It
must
takes
wear like
me-
casual clothes sometimes,
It
right?
takes me
casual.
hours. It's either this or naked.
Okay.
There's
well,
no in between.
you couldn't come naked because that would have been weird.
That would be inappropriate.
He's tried to some places.
I have tried. Yesterday, I was at a shoot and just pretty much butt naked.
Yeah, wishing our mom a happy birthday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
Yeah,
about that.
that's right.
Yesterday was your mom's birthday, and your mom is actually pretty integral. I feel like at some point she kind of managed the band too,
She
right?
did. Yeah.
She did. Yeah.
Early on, she did. She was like the only person that really believed in us at the beginning, and I think she still to this day is one of the few people that really get what we're doing on our like internal circle of people. You know, so she's
just a supportive mom.
Yeah.
Showed us
She's
all
always-
the cool bands when we were young.
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting when I was doing a deep dive because you guys have been on the show now. This is your third time, which
Yeah.
makes you the most popular guest on the show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Golf.
But when I was doing a deep dive, I didn't know that your mom used to photograph like I don't know, was it the Faces or Iggy
no,
Pop?
she was out with Johnny Thunders a lot,
Amazing.
and Sid Bader's in excess,
New
yeah,
York
and then
Dolls.
New York Dolls, all that stuff. But yeah, the coolest of the that whole rock scene of like the the down and dirty CBGB stuff. She
Yeah.
was there getting all the photos and like on the road with them. So I think when she saw the demise of that kind of career and life kind of end, she was kind of prepared for anything with us. You know, we're a lot to handle, but in comparison, we're a walk in the park.
Yeah, I just by the way, I just watched the Sid Bader's documentary. Did you ever see it? It just came out. right?
Yeah, I think my mom was a producer on that. But
Amazing.
yeah.
So when I was younger, I opened up for Lord's of New Church and also for Johnny Thunders, and I think Johnny Thunders died like the next month. I
No
wish I
shit.
realized how important those guys were
Yeah.
back in the day because they were so important, and you can totally tell now that I did that deep dive and saw them, know you so well.
Mhm.
It's obviously so obvious where your influences come from because
Yeah.
you guys could all be in the Dolls, right? If it was
Yeah.
just like,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
Emerson loves
That's
that.
what Emerson strives for.
Yeah. So tell me, you guys have been in LA. I know we spoke a lot over the years, but you've been here, I think, what, like 9 or 10 years now?
Yeah, we just actually had our
Fuck, that's
our
crazy.
10-year anniversary with our friend Michael Bolton on
Yeah.
Halloween, and he was the first friend we met when we moved to Los Angeles,
Yeah,
and
you
he was
guys
the one
weren't
that
even
shot our
at the
music
anniversary.
videos.
Wow.
And we're
Yeah.
thinking of doing, because the first venues that we played was the Viper Room.
Mm.
So I think
In
we're going to do like a
2013.
10-year anniversary show or something.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No connection, by the way, to the Michael Bolton.
No.
of, yesterday.
No.
We wish. That'd be cool.
But
Whenever you're with him, he gets the best reservations.
Mm.
Like he calls us like Michael Bolton, table for 4. It's like absolutely doesn't matter if it's packed out. He always
Right.
gets a seat, and then they're always disappointed when they see his face.
And then he shows up and he looks like he's in the New York Dolls. You're like, wait, that's not the same Michael Bolton that we thought we knew. It's funny. I mean, Sebastian, it's interesting. We were talking the other day. You guys all have very specific roles in the band. It's almost like you handle a lot of the business.
Yeah.
Emerson does a lot of the art. I know you do a lot of the lyrics and the melody line. So how did that come to be? I mean, the hustle is something that you've always had, I think, all of you together. And maybe that comes from your mom's work ethic.
Yeah, I think we were just trained really well in that sense of just being able to be self-efficient and not relying on any single human, because at the end of the day, no one's going to have the love and passion for your own career and vision than yourself.
Mm.
And if you just go and keep on pushing forward, then there's gonna be people that are going to come around and be able to help because they're going to understand your vision because it's so clear. But when you walk into a room and asking people, what do I do? No one wants to help you out unless you're willing to be molded into anything you want to be, which is a lot of, music actually. But I think, the roles of what it was is just over time, my strong suits have been dealing with people, dealing with contracts, dealing with all the money side of things. And Emerson is just so
An incredible
straight to
artist.
the point with
Thank you.
merchandise and
It was
artwork.
funny while he was driving the car, because we took our mom's car for the first couple tours,
Yeah.
And then so I was writing the newspapers and the comic books. That's when we started a cosmetic line,
Mm.
because it was kind of out of the necessity of just like funding gas to the next place to play a show.
Yeah.
But then it kind of entrepreneured the brand of Palais Royale.
It's interesting because if you don't have a backup plan, normally you don't have anything to fall back and you make it work. And you guys really never had regular jobs, right?
I worked at a jewelry shop for
He got fired. He was an
for 2
incompetent
months.
worker.
I did not. I went out too much the nights before because I was 20 living
Right.
in LA, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm gonna go out. But then going and working a job that you have to sit there and deal with people, awful. I have to deal with people hungover now, but it's more fun because I'm doing it for something I love.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but
We had
working for
this
someone
phase.
else.
We had this phase in our lives though, where we were going on tours, but they weren't like paying us money or anything, and it was like time to kind of get a job, and so like that was around the time we went homeless, and then we signed our record deal, and that was the thing that like kept us like funded to keep doing it.
Yeah,
which was good.
me and Emerson were like sleeping in our mom's car at some point, and then we were living at the El Patio Motel.
in North Hollywood.
Yeah, and
Good
that's-
hotel? No.
No, no, it is not.
You get a room for $40 a night.
When we
Yeah.
go to after parties and stuff, we would say it was the
El
El
Patio.
Patio, and people are like, "Oh, I know that place."
Oh yes,
Fabulous.
That's like
I
Le
summered
Petit
there.
Hermitage, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So we pretty much just signed a record deal because like the head of our label came out to a show. We were playing
High school.
at a high school, and he came out to the show and he was like, "Okay, I would like to do this." I was like, "On one condition, you give me a check right now because I can't afford this motel." And it was only like I think it was like $60 or $70 a night or
Yeah.
something.
And then
But you guys gave yourself like a week to get signed because that's all the money you had really to stay in LA at that point, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it ended up happening sooner than that.
Yeah, we when we were on tour, we just did it, and
And then yeah, we signed the record deal, and then we're like, "Okay, like, you know, can we get more money?" He's like, "No, go get a job." And I was like,
we
"Oh,
thought
fuck."
signing
I was
to a
like, "This
record-
is
I thought this
exactly
is my
why
job.
I didn't want to do."
Right.
And
Oddly
so
enough, though,
we
it was-
took any tour we possibly could
Mm.
just to fucking play. And, you know, we played to fucking 2 people, sometimes just the bartender at the bars, and then just get shit thrown at us. And, you know, we got
We
thick
did about
skin
th-
and just
you know,
became like tour dogs.
as you know, it's like as long as we've been friends, I really think it's like I've been on the road our whole friendship. You
Yeah,
know, it's just the pandemic's been the only time I've been home, and we just never stopped. It was like the moment we would get on a tour, I would be calling anyone that was working for us at that time, be like, "What's our next tour?" Like, "What are you talking about? You have 30 days on this tour." I'm like, "I don't care if I do not have a tour booked 2 days after this tour.
we can't eat.
We don't live anywhere."
Yeah.
You know, luckily we've had a few friends that have been able to like let us sleep in their nice homes, but you know, for the
Shout
most,
out to Gabby. I love you.
But it's been about 4 years. You never had this kind of downtime. This is the first time.
yeah,
you've
well,
ever-
2014 was like 2015 was the longest time I was home from like, you know, we left 2015 summer and we didn't until when we were in Poland in 2020 on March 11th. And
Wow.
so it's been the thing, and we were gearing up for so much stuff at that point. We were just doing Shepherd's Bush sold out, you know, Paradiso in Amsterdam, like 2,000 cap rooms, and we're like, we're doing it, we're pushing, and then all the pandemic happened. And
It was good though. We had an opportunity to really focus on the new album,
Mm.
which I feel like was rare because we were going at such a fast pace, you know. So we spent about a year just obsessing on this new record.
Yeah, I
which
think this
really
was
good.
like the first time in our whole career pretty much that we made a record not while being on tour. So, you know, we would fly back from tour like for a week, record, go back out, and then come back for a few days, record. So this was the first time we actually got to sit with like a body of work for a long time. So we pretty much just spent a full year just recording and writing, and we set up the studio in my house, and it's our best fucking work.
And the best part of it is we're all friends actually through this journey. And like we wrote, our producer Chris, he's the best therapist among best producer for this band.
Yeah, he's for sure.
He
therapist.
told us, he's like, if you guys don't work with each other with respect, I'm not gonna work with you and make this album. It's too difficult to be in a room with you guys because we just yell and throw shit at each other. It's pretty. It was pretty bad. Yeah, because when we were in Reading and Leeds like 2 years ago, me and Remington got in a fist fight on mushrooms outside of the festival in a gas
We're
station.
the only 2 people that could be angry on mushrooms.
And
just
it was
like-
funny. The whole pacing of it was we were in the car and we're driving to the gas station, and we pull we're gonna fight when we get to the gas station because we didn't want to fight in the thing. So you're sitting there just holding your hands like, all right, we get out. And it's like, all right, round 1, let's go. And it was just full. Like I'm wearing a suit and
Scared the gas station lady.
The gas station lady went after when we fought. We went in to get some like snacks.
And she's
and
like,
she
"No."
runs up and locks the door. And she's like, no. Like, okay.
Well, the truth is, you're all brothers, and people don't know. I mean, look
Yeah.
back at Oasis, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard to always get along. But what are you fighting over? At? Is it the songwriting? Is it your
No. I think
it
performance
was
last night sucked?
Just
Is it
close
over
quarters and
It's
stuff,
girls
you
and
know.
what could
It's
it be?
usually we know, obviously we know what can make the other person mad.
I remember there was this one time we were staying in a fucking because there was like we could only afford one Motel 6 room, and so we were staying in a fucking Motel 6, and there's like 9 people on tour at this point. And so I remember I was just sitting like in the bathroom, just like fixing my hair, and Sebastian just looks at me in the morning and just punches me
Oh,
in the
yeah.
head. I'm like, what the fuck?
Was that when you ripped my fur coat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
dude. And he goes like, you fucking idiot. I'm like, what did I fucking do?
Listen,
So-
the hair is very important. I mean,
I
you
know.
have sometimes it takes an hour to get it right.
I don't
He's
know.
always,
I
even
think-
up to stage time, he's always playing with
Yeah.
it. I'm like, what you're doing is useless.
Yeah.
You're just gonna run around.
No, the moment I get on stage,
It doesn't
it's fucked.
matter.
It's so funny that looking back on all that stuff, it's like all the fights we had didn't matter, but it was because you're just continually on this wheel. It becomes this, you know, your everyday life, and you forget that the shows are fun. And I think we like 2017, 2018 when you're opening, you're like, you just like start losing like excitement in the shows because it's just like the grueling like I was driving every single night, so it was, you know,
I
doing
don't know
12
how
hours.
the fuck you did that. I literally drove like just for like a few hours the other day. I literally
Hated
told
it.
Emerson, I was like, I don't know how the fuck Sebastian did this.
I clocked 180,000 miles driving.
Wow. Let's talk about that for a
Yeah.
minute. I mean, how has life changed for the band now that you are more successful, right?
We have homes.
We have
You have
homes.
homes? Okay,
That's-
okay.
We
That's a
have we have
plus.
vehicles now that we're in our own that are not.
I saw a
for
nice
using thing.
vehicle that you
Yeah.
were just driving, which kudos for that.
Right?
Oh, is there a tour bus now?
we
Or
have,
there wasn't
we
a tour
have,
bus?
we have a
before?
tour
bus.
bus. We have incredible crew
Okay.
that really are incredible people that, you know,
We have this like
it's
French
family.
team. They
They're-
take care of
Yeah,
us.
it's our sound guy, our a lighting guy, and our tech. They handle everything. Like if I think I'll be on the bus and they go, oh shit, I forgot my scarf on stage, and I'll be like, Tim or Camille, and they're like, ready, got it here. I'm like, thank you.
And like our
it's
tour
my-
manager, Giles, pretty much just like my babysitter
Yeah.
because I need that.
But it's amazing. Like these people are like look out for the best interests of us, and it's really exciting because we've spent, people don't talk about crew that much because they think the show just goes on because of who's on stage, but it takes a fucking village to make that happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's
And you have to enjoy being around them, you know,
Yeah.
because
They're family.
you spend so much time with these people.
Yeah, it's funny because like we literally don't go like we don't hire people based off of like their like past jobs or anything or not even capabilities at this
We
point.
like them.
If we just like being around
and
you
they're hardworking.
and like because we're gonna be
And
in
if they can
close
stand
quarters.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like if you can put up with me, it's gonna
Like
work.
we've noticed actually in the UK especially, a lot of people that dealt with the libertines
Hmm.
can deal with us because they're like, oh yeah, what you guys
I
are
mean, you guys
fine."
are a walk in the park, and they
Yeah,
would come like
exactly.
tomorrow for
Yeah.
this podcast. Like, oh, we thought it was on Thursday. Oh shit, it's on Monday. That's funny, but even back in the day, it wasn't always easy. I mean, you started out by passing out flyers, which I used to do when I was like
Yeah.
18,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that you had to do that. That was before like life's changed. Everything's done now,
It's definitely
internet wise.
changed.
Right?
You know, it's when we started doing it, we had the thing that we would do as a band in 2012. We put out our first video because that was when we switched the band name and got rid of our past and tried to hide as much as we could.
Let's talk
but-
about that first band name.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it again?
Crop circle.
Crop Circle, right?
But
Yeah,
now it's been 10 years since we were doing that.
Yeah.
But the Disney Foundation gave
What
us
a
such
horrible name.
it was terrible.
So
Terrible fucking name.
bad.
But the thing was, it was such a foundation of understanding how to be personable, realizing that music is much more than just playing a song.
Mm.
It is a business at the end of the day, and I think people forget that. And you also have to realize that you're lucky to have the fans you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without those people, you are absolutely nothing. You're a bedroom guitar player, musician, go playing down the street at the bar. No one cares about you. These kids and these fans in music culture and movie culture, everything is because of them. Obviously, the art has to be good to sustain that. But if you don't treat them with respect,
That's why the community,
know?
I think we've grown, and we like dub our fan base the Soldiers of the Royal Council because we feel like a family with each other. We take care of one another, and like when we're at shows and stuff, if anyone we've stopped shows when people pass out, and I think it's really crucial to take care of one
Yeah,
another.
if you look at what just happened, obviously with the
Yeah.
Astro World, it's a travesty. I mean,
Fucking
we-
crazy.
what
I
do you
don't
what do you
know-
think the solution to that is?
the solution obviously is security was too much of it. But the thing is,
you have the power.
you
to
have the
stop
power.
show.
And like I saw one video that was kind of a little traumatizing. It was like these two people trying to climb up onto where the film camera was guy, and they were like, "Stop the show! Like there's someone dying!" And like the person's like, "Get off!" It's like if you're hearing someone's dying, That's
Stop the
usually
show.
when you stop
Yeah,
the show.
you stop the
You
show.
have the
Yeah.
power. You have a
Yeah.
walkie as a security or whoever you are working with that community. They're a big ass production. You're able to stop the show, and I think it's really yes, the environment, you love seeing people go crazy. It's an amazing thing for an artist.
Yeah.
But the moment you see things going a little awry, we were playing our show in Shepherd's Bush, and we had to stop the show it was Amsterdam. It was 5 times we stopped the show.
Because you acknowledge that. and you
there's,
know
there's
that.
someone on the
That's-
ground.
'cause,
Be like,
like-
everyone stop, get
Yeah.
them up. There's a girl's eyes rolling back.
Because
You're like, all right,
I like to view the security not being there for me.
Mm.
I literally just view the security. So if I like see like someone kind of like fainting,
Yeah,
or
you tap
passing
on the
out,
back of their
I'll
back.
tap the security and just go, okay, she needs help. Go deal with. Go,
Yeah,
like,
because
make
Remington,
sure she has water. and
you're
stuff.
running all around this. You're
Mhm.
climbing on
Yeah,
shit.
so I
and
can see pretty much every. I've got
He
terrible
surveys-
eyesight.
Yeah.
but
He surveys the whole.
The best,
yeah.
is, the best is in the UK when we were playing on the O2 on one of these tours. The security tackled Remington down the stairs because he was running around the venue.
He actually, we're technically banned from O2s.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of him.
because
though.
of that.
Yeah,
Well,
because we're
him.
too dangerous. We're too dangerous for the
So,
crowd.
yeah,
I'm like,
they-
have you seen Ramstein or Tool or like come on.
Yeah, I think so. I got like an actual letter from the government saying I couldn't climb anymore, and so they posted I think like 3 or 4 securities at like every possible climbing entry point that I could possibly go to, and so I'm like, of course I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
because I'm like I
It's
have
a challenge.
to. Yeah, and so there's like 4 people just barricading the staircase because I couldn't go up the staircase. So I was like, but I jumped along like the side of it and climbed it that way, and then they eventually caught me and then like tackled me to the fucking ground, started like punching
Yeah.
my head in like
Oh
during
my
the
God.
show.
Yeah. We have it all on
Luckily-
camera, which is great.
And luckily I was like, okay, I'm good, I'm done, like the show's over.
Yeah.
And then I go
And he
fucking
starts
start
running
running,
away.
go back to the stage, and I'm like, you can't fucking hold me.
Jesus.
And then they cut off our sound. So,
Yeah.
but we kept playing.
But no, the best
no
is
one could hear.
the best is we run. No, we ran back the moment they shut the PA off, and the best is me and our bass player at the time. We both look at each other and we run to our amps and just blast it to 10 and just go as loud as we can. And Emerson's just throwing cymbals into the crowd. It's like this whole mayhem. It's like no one could stop the show, and
Yeah.
we realize that, so we're gonna go with it. We're not gonna be like, oh guys, we're so sorry.
We're
It's
just
like,
trying to have some fun.
Needless to say, you will not be going back there.
no, we will.
You will.
We probably will. I think we built a bridge.
I think that crowd respected the hell out of us after that. They went
because
in
we were opening for like a metal band.
All right. Okay.
and
Yeah.
There's someone it's like at the top of O2 like over there that just fucking hates us. I'm gonna find out where they live and just
Send them edible
bags of
arrangements.
dog shit.
No, edible
Edible
arrangements.
arrangements. That's a classy move.
I thought you were gonna send sunflowers. You know, but, all right.
Edible arrangements.
I'm
It's,
gonna find out who you are.
Just wait. Do you ever feel like you were all born in the wrong generation? When you look at the bands that you
Yeah.
love, the Faces, Sid Barrett, and obviously, the Stones, right? The Stones Beggars Banquet era, right? Do you ever feel like that you guys are part of a different generation?
For the
you grew
longest time, I think that's all what we ever wanted to do as a band is be a part of something else. And then we realized, you know what? This is where we are.
Yeah.
And I think when that realization was once
Trying
we
to
started doing our own
compete
shows.
with the Rolling Stones or the Beatles,
Yeah.
I would just it would
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
so-
I think
I
Floyd
think
and
it's
Sid Barrett,
crucial
like-
though in any generation that you're born into. If you see a void or something lacking in the culture, it's important for you to become that person and bring that energy.
Yeah, 'cause
I
I
think
mean-
I think it's super important that these like elements and these roots of such great art and music isn't lost.
Yeah.
And if we're like the gateway to bands and books and artists, like I love telling kids to read Alan Watts or listen to his lectures.
Yeah.
And for most people that wouldn't have ever known he existed, it's
You're almost like the philosopher of the band, I would say.
He is.
I think it's just it's up to us. It's like Sisyphus or something. It's up
Yeah.
to us to like move the ball forward every day.
Definitely.
Because
Well, who are the artists that you're looking at now? Because we spoke about this a few times when you guys have been on before, but
Yeah.
things have changed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the current state of music now, it's changed. And I think now there's not a lot of great young rock bands. That's why I always say that you are carrying the flag for rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons we get along because, I'm carrying whatever flag I can carry.
Yeah.
So, like, you tend to gravitate towards people that you think have like-minded, journeys in life. And so there aren't a lot of great new rock bands out there, but who do you like? I know you're touring with Youngblood,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Which is
Doing
cool.
Yeah.
You're doing
Youngblood.
Youngblood, Manskin. I really,
Yeah.
really
Oh, you
enjoy
just saw them
Manskin's
play,
great.
right?
Saw them
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Great. We
Talk about
were
that.
there with the Struts, like really lovely boys.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's
There's only really just like a
and people that are
handful of
doing-
bands. That
There's
are
a
just
lot.
Like,
There's a lot of pop punk happening, and it's great. It's like a really jump starting guitars
just
again
a
into
lot.
the modern. It's
I feel
a
like
lot.
everybody's and their fucking mother is doing pop punk now.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's
that's
like
Travis.
everybody's
Travis
doing it.
Barker literally is leading the way on everything.
Yeah, it's
I
interesting.
mean-
Like Travis Barker has become this like new go-to guy for all these bands.
It's kind of
How
the
did
way
it
I look
happen?
at Travis Barker is how like there was and when hip hop was really being massive in like the early 2000s, and seeing that there was producers leading the way. He is literally doing that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he is taking it, and everything he touches is automatically platinum. It's
Yeah.
just like okay,
It's fucking crazy.
yeah. But it's cool though because he did get a lot of the more alternative like
to like
pop
listen to
people.
real instruments again, you know, and that was so
like
fucking
Olivia
rare.
Olivia Rodrigo is like putting guitars and stuff, and I think that record sounds stellar. It's like there's so many things that are making not our job easier, but it is opening up the doors to people that normally alternative music didn't even have guitars on it like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was only like synth. So it was, I feel like we might
I'm
be
just
getting out of the
happy,
disco era.
bands are coming back. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool wave that's about to like actually like overcome.
Yeah, I think it was just like a few or even like a couple of years ago. I was like looking at the iHeartRadio like best alternative music artist, and it was like Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, Nicki Minaj. I was like, do they know what the meaning alternative is?
Right.
I was like, how is Nicki Minaj alternative?
Yeah. But what's
So
happening now is
it's-
like rock is seeping through in other
It's
forms. Like
coming
Machine Gun
back.
Kelly, you have like
Yeah.
Miley, who's
Yeah.
bringing in like a
Miley's
Young
doing-
Thug
Yeah.
has like Travis Barker and drums,
That's what
right?
I'm saying,
So-
though. It's a lot
yeah.
of those people that would necessarily not have guitars on them. They're bringing guitars in.
Yeah.
It's great, and I'm really happy that guitars are cool again. Because guitar solos used to. I remember we were making even like 2 albums ago. It was like, do not put a
Yeah, you
guitar
couldn't
solo
do
in.
it.
That's stupid. And now it's like people are like championing it.
Yeah.
But I think the live show is like, especially for us, it's so up into interpretation. Like we take what we do on an album and then just do it in our own way live.
We make it
And
very
I think that's
Stooges.
what's special is
Yeah.
when you come to a show and you just see this like train wreck that doesn't quite fall apart.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The Stones were the kings of keeping a thread of a mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was they had the whole show so perfect because it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, Libertines looking at like a band like that, or Oasis.
Like
was
the-
They
really
were a
tight,
little
but
too messy, but
They were very messy.
Like to
but-
me, The Doors is like one of the greatest bands ever.
Yeah.
You know, like watching any of their live concerts, it's like literally a spiritual
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, well, he was a guru. He's an
Mm-hmm.
incredible performer. But what do you think is cyclical, right? Because everything in music is cyclical,
Mm-hmm.
and everything goes through cycles in life, and especially now in music, things are going to come back around. But do you feel like we spoke about rock making a comeback, but what else is like going to make a comeback? Do you think? in that sense?
I think
I know
it's
like
always
people-
everyone's gonna take inspiration from things. I think what's really cool is like there are some people that bend genres, and I think that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
luckily, when we first started this band and we did the first record, we got in with James Eha, and it was great. But the one best thing he says, like, you guys are gonna be a touring band. You're not gonna be doing big rooms. You're gonna be playing little shitty clubs. Just be a rock band. But we've always been piano players at heart. Like that's been our thing. Classical has always been an important thing of our lives. And trying like this new record, we've incorporated so much piano bass into it because it's been like that's who we are, and we're able to afford the production for it.
Yeah, we're
So,
finally doing
trying
bigger
to
rooms,
do
and
that
we can start
and bring
affording more
pianos
people.
and like bring strings out and doing all this stuff. It's going to be fun to do that. But going back to like for genres, I feel like you're going to have. I really feel like the DJ thing is kind of teetered off a little bit.
There won't be a Palais Royale DJ collaboration
No.
anytime soon.
Who knows?
So.
Who knows?
Is there a camaraderie with some of these new bands? Like you speak about Manskin. I know the Struts and you
Yeah.
guys are friends, right?
Yeah,
I love those guys.
shockingly, it was like the weirdest thing. It was like last week I sent a screenshot to Remington and Emerson. It was like in our DMs. It used to be like a year ago, no one would be in association with us because we were like, I don't know,
Taboo
maybe
or
we
something.
smelled bad or something.
Yeah.
But
Though I
Starting to
think
seem like
there
that.
does need to be a cultural like Warhol factory. I don't think there is quite
No.
that.
But,
You know?
but going back to that, it's like literally I looked at our DMs and it was like we had Barnes Courtney, we had
Yeah.
LP, we had the guys from the Struts, we had Manskin, Youngblood. All of them were just like in our top like messages back and forth. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like we're all
We just
friends.
need
like
to
a
get
little
support.
community.
We just need to
Yeah.
get a
That's it.
warehouse, and then it'll be a vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I think once you reach a certain level of success, too, it becomes less competitive and more
Yeah.
like let's help each other. Because the Youngblood thing
Yeah.
also came about because you guys are friendly too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that came. Honestly, that was left field for us. We did not expect it because we, Chris, our producer, produced his record and produced ours, and we met on Warped Tour like 2018. But there wasn't much back and forth. We've always wanted the tour to get together, and we got new agents, and literally they called us and were like, hey, we got some great news and we got some bad news. And I'm like, what? Tell them the bad news first. And like, we're gonna have to rearrange some of the European sold out dates. I'm like, what do you mean? And then they're like, you got Youngblood offer. I'm like, and they only gave us 8 shows that time, but it was only on weekends. I'm like, this is impossible. We can't do 7 transatlantic flights.
Yeah, it would be like flying
Yeah.
from the States back to the European tour, back to the States. I was like,
we don't make
know
enough
if
money
we do
to afford those flights, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Somebody look at that routing.
Yeah, I had to do
It
the
was
whole routing to
smashing.
make this, like, they wanted to cancel the whole UK and European tour to make the Youngblood thing happen. I'm like, we can't cancel the UK, we can't cancel Europe, and they're like, well, you need to pick some dates. And
But
I was
yeah,
like,
I literally just called him and I was like, yo, we're like, we got to cancel a lot of shit to make this work. He's like, I got you.
so
I
he
was
gave
like,
us like a
"Thank
little
God."
bit of time. But
So he really helped us out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are friends with Post Malone. I missed some
Yeah.
of the hangs at your house, but
Yeah.
apparently
Yo.
he's hanging at
'Cause,
your house.
we
sometimes,
live
so-
with Andy, the lead singer of Crown the Empire.
Okay.
And I guess Post initially tried out to be in that band,
Oh,
like
wow.
when they were kids in Texas
Yeah.
and stuff.
And so I
Um,
think, they went to middle school together. They were like
Yeah,
super close
but
friends. in
over
middle
the
school.
last like 2 years or something, just seeing Austin and just
Yeah.
like hanging out with him, he's the sweetest dude I've ever
Fucking
met in my
nicest
life.
guy.
Yeah, you guys left a party.
We'll be
For-
we'll be in a studio or something, and he loves like death metal.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there'll be like an hour of just like hardcore death metal.
And his producer Louis
Like,
Bell is
Earl-
like the #1 producer, and he's sitting there just looking at everyone like, "Why are you guys listening to those?"
It's so funny, yeah, because like I think because we were with him like a couple weeks ago, and we were just in the studio. He's like, we're gonna have a country night and just put on like all the old country hits, and then it like turned into death metal.
Mhm.
It was so much.
Yeah, well, he has great references. He loves rock, which I love.
Well,
so-
Andrew Watt is
yeah,
like
my buddy,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's one of, I think that was one of the people that like started making guitars cool on the Miley shit.
Definitely.
You know what I
I
mean?
think Post was the one that brought back being a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting because when I was younger, like being a rock star, I think meant something different than now. You
Mhm.
guys are like this
Yeah.
generation's rock star. So what's it like now to be
Rock
like this
stars?
generation's rock
It's
star?
so fucking funny. Back in like like the 80s and stuff.
The Guns
you
N'
know, it was-
Roses era.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm-
it was like, you got to be a shithead. You got to run around. Destroy hotel rooms. Now being a rock star is being environmentally cautious.
Yeah.
Being politically correct.
Right.
Being a good fucking citizen.
Being
Yeah.
woke.
Recycling.
Yeah.
Being vegan. And kissing your mother before you go to fucking bed. So that's what being a rock star.
But you
is
don't
today.
necessarily feed into all that.
We have our opinions, and our
Yeah.
opinions
Well,
have got us in trouble.
did you know who Kim Fowley was?
Yeah, of course.
So like
Runaways.
six,
Yeah.
6 years ago or
Yeah.
something, before we were doing anything, we were at a soup plantation, just having a nice meal, and we saw Rodney Bingenheimer.
Who I
And,
love, yeah.
and like I freaked out when I saw him. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's him. And then I like went over and said hi, and he was like, I saw you were doing this Superstar Shuffle, and then he like gives me his like old phone, and it was Kim Fowley on the line. He goes, "Are you a fucking superstar?" I was like, "Yeah, I think so." He goes, "Not enough." And he like hangs up on me.
But
then he calls back.
he texted me, and he called me the next morning. I woke up, I was like in bed, and I like roll over, and I have a voicemail, and put it up, and I'm just like, he's like, "Hi, this is Kim Valley, and I've listened to your music, and
not
it's
terrible."
No, he was like, and it's very good. He's like, I would like to meet you guys, and I was like, so we went over to his house, and unfortunately, this is when he was like passing, and
He was on his deathbed
Yeah.
at this
Oh,
point.
but
wow.
he wanted Palay to be his last band he ever produced.
So we were
And-
about to get into the studio, and unfortunately,
But he helped
died.
out with some of the songs on the Boom Boom Room album, and it was
Mm.
dedicated to him. Actually.
Amazing, yeah. What an icon. I mean, different than the story that happened with Gene Simmons, right? Because it's a whole
Yeah.
nother. And for some
Yeah.
reason, I probably had, I don't know, I want to say 100 bands now on the show. I feel like 80% of the bands have a Kiss story. I don't know why. From the Melvins to whoever, like every band that's in here has a Kiss story.
Yeah.
And come to find out, you guys have
We
a
have
Kiss
a Kiss
story.
story, yeah.
We got a story.
What's your Kiss story?
Our Kiss story is Gene Simmons picked him up when we were our other band. When we were
children. at this
Emerson
point.
was 12. I just got my license.
Yeah,
I was 16.
14.
And his
Is this in Canada? Were you
no,
in
we were
Canada?
in Vegas.
In Vegas, okay.
And his A&R contacted us and said, Gene wants to meet with the guys, wants to sign them. So he's going to fly out to LA, make sure there's a film crew. So like we have this all for documentation. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm driving down as a 6-year-old with my mom to Caesar's Palace to pick up Gene Simmons. Like everyone's outside taking pictures. He's walking with his sunglasses, poofing his hair up and down. And he gets in the car driving back, and I'm like, I'm driving Gene Simmons to my house. Okay, this is the weirdest thing. Why am I picking him up? He could just get a car.
This was before Uber.
Yeah, but why do I have to be Uber? Well, you can't afford it. Anyways, he comes back to the house, and we're playing. We have it set up acoustically because we can't play a live show in our house, and we have like 3 bar stools. Emerson's playing piano or tambourine or whatever, and I'm playing guitar and Remington's singing. And he watches it, and he just like basically said how bad it was, and we're like,
And mind you, I'm going through fucking puberty at the time, and I
Now,
recorded.
did you know Kiss? Were you fans of Kiss at that
Yeah,
point? or-
every-
everyone knows Kiss.
Yeah.
you know.
So my voice is going through puberty, and I recorded like the songs that we were playing like earlier, like probably like a year before when I was like 13, and so my voice didn't quite change yet,
Mm.
and so I could fucking reach any note. I was like, there's no, and so trying to sing that while going through puberty was fucking difficult, and so my voice is cracking all over the place.
But he
and it's
suggested
just
to us, he was like, after
Yeah.
saying how bad we were, he suggested, he was like, well, because you're Canadian, like paint half your face red, half the face white. What do you think? I was like, I don't know about that.
The one really good word of advice I do still remember to this day, and it's funny, something just always sits in the back of your head. I remember we were sitting around our kitchen table after 3 hours of him telling us what we need to do differently.
How bad you were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It
fine.
was
you
good
know,
though.
it
I
was good.
think when you're that early in your
And
career,
you get
need to
someone to
get
shit on
beaten
you?
down a little bit. Not to the point where you never do it, but enough
Not
to
that
where you're
much.
like, you have a sense of like we had producers that would like throw things at us and like make us cry, and they would come up to us and be like, are you sure you want to be the drummer?
Yeah.
You know, which is good. It like stabs
Yeah,
you
because
a
like
bit.
even like Gene and like there's this other manager. Remember McFly?
Oh my God, there's this
So-
band McFly. Yeah.
Yeah, his manager. Both in like I think it was like the same month. They just like look at me and they're like, "You should look for another instrument because it's not working."
But
And
it's
It's
so,
like I sing, I
just-
don't play an instrument.
yeah,
Yep.
and then so I pretty much it's just like lit a fucking fire in me to
Mm.
become like
Yeah.
the most
But
crazy front.
I think
Yeah.
that was the thing. It's like, and then that was when we had one of the people at Disney that came up to us, and they're like, "You guys are too dark for Disney," and we're like, "Well, okay." You know, maybe that's a good thing. And so
No,
that was
they
when
were-
we're like, we should change
They
everything.
were just like, we see you guys having a much longer career than what's going on here,
Mm.
and like you guys clearly want to talk about subjects that we don't want to advertise or air, you know, because like our first record as children, like unfortunately he had a bunch of friends that like committed
Commit suicide when they're like
Oh.
12 to like 15. So
Wow.
I
So
understand.
death was always and still is a
Mm.
big topic of writing that we have,
And I think that's the strongest thing. Is like our biggest song right now is Lonely, and I think there's so much like relatable content, and people like, are you writing it just to be in a association of like, your audience is like you're playing towards that? It's like, no, like this is actually how we feel, and it's like, because I lost so many friends like to so much shit, and it was
Yeah, because I wrote that song literally. We were coming back 'cause we just toured Tokyo and then went to Australia, and so I can't sleep on planes, and so it was just flying every single day. And then we almost broke up as a band in Australia, and so we flew back to
Japan.
LA.
that was my bet.
that was your bad. Yeah, we got off stage in Japan, sold out show, and we're throwing shit at each other. Like,
So we
it's a
almost
great show.
broke up as a band, and then yeah, we were like talking about splitting up, and it was my Uber ride back from the airport to back to my house, and then I was just writing all these lyrics down, and I just like texted them to my producer. He's like, you got to come record it right now. I was like, dude, I haven't slept in like 4 days. He's like,
perfect.
record it right now, and so we made the song and finished it in like 3 hours.
By the way, that tension, if you talk about the Toxic Twins, if you talk
Yeah.
about like, Aerosmith, the Stones, whatever, I mean, Oasis,
Yeah.
the Libertines, that's what makes for the best shows.
It really
So
does.
in the end of the day, you were fighting, but you probably had great shows.
We did.
We did a fantastic show.
I remember there was one show. Our bass player, he was like always like he like looked at me and Emerson. He's like, "Did you just spit on Emerson?" Me and him were spitting at each other while playing a show. We're like,
No, it was on Warped Tour.
This is
He'll try-
pre-COVID,
he'll try
guys,
to
so
like
it's
come
fine.
up and like talk to you or say something, and you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So it
So
seems
just-
like he's yelling at me. So I like threw a drumstick at him, spit at me, I spit at him, kicked half my drumstick.
yeah, I threw his drum set while he's playing, and I'm like, that really fucked our show.
Because like yeah, Sebastian will come up like while like I'm performing, and
But I
just-
usually have good compliments.
I know.
It's funny.
'Cause,
I'll go
like,
up to him.
you
I'm like,
don't
Remington, you're
understand-
sounding so good today, and
he's
he
like,
thinks.
you're great. And then I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
And then he'll elbow me, and then it's like,
It's like I have no idea. I can't hear him, and
Yeah.
so he just looks angry, and so I'm
Yeah.
like, this guy's an asshole.
But I think we picked up the whole like angry on stage thing from being the one of 4 opening band for metal bands
Mm.
for like 3 years
Yeah.
or something.
every band was
So-
throwing shit at us, and we're like, we got to fend for
But
our life.
literally doing that, and I'm so thankful that we did do that because it made us like angrier sounding. It made us like sound like that little edge of punk that we have.
I think looping all of that together though, it's like going back to like as young as being a kid and having Gene Simmons say your shit, and then being as a band, and like, you know, all these people kicking you down.
Hold on, I'm gonna finish up the Kiss story really quick, and then we get a call about like a few months ago.
Oh my gosh,
from Kiss.
This is full circle.
Asking to open a direct support
Yeah,
for Kiss.
Gene called us to
I
do the
was
world
like-
tour for Kiss.
I was like, he has no idea that.
And then-
Yeah, I don't think
that
he knows.
we
You
doesn't
had to
Kiss.
tell him. You didn't tell him. Nobody
No,
knew.
we
we're
didn't
not gonna
tell
tell
him.
him. He's probably
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this guy sucks," you know. But I
But
think
I
it's-
would love one day we
You know
will do a
what?
tour. with
You
them.
know what's funny though? Full circle of everything.
Great,
It's like someone kicks you down 15 years ago, and now they're asking for you to be on their tour. You do something right. You put the effort in. I think this is like a message for everyone. It's just like,
Well, it took me 14 years to be okay in Gene's eyes.
it's okay though. But honestly though, it's like you put the effort in.
Perseverance.
You don't stop believing in what you want to do as yourself, and like if you have some good people around you supporting you, even better. I give it
Definitely.
up for solo artists because that's a very hard job to do, because you have to look into yourself and only to yourself for support.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have 3 of us, but it's just like, don't give up, because the only person stopping you from getting anything you want in this life is yourself.
Definitely, I
Yeah.
agree. And there's something to be said sometimes with success comes more like complacency with a lot of these bands where they're just not hungry anymore and they don't write
Yeah.
great songs. I mean, as much as I love the Stones, and I just saw them play there, they were incredible live. All these bands, my favorite bands growing up, they really don't write great music anymore. So do you think in 10 years from now, if I have you back on here and I'm like old and, Santa Claus looking, you guys will be like, you won't be hungry because you'll be so successful that the music will suffer.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
hope-
that
I-
scares me.
I
'cause
hope
I
we-
agree with that.
Yeah.
I do hope we have that, like, getting to that point though. It's like the Stones, for instance, they were so high in their career, literally high in their career, like on everything they were, but where they were in the world. But it was doing like Exile and making things that we've realized as this band. We get inspired off of locations and places and people, and I think the most important thing is us never stepping foot into a normal studio to make a record. Never show up and that everything's perfect. Like, walk into a place that's a little fucked up, and like, we were gonna go rent a cat. We're gonna probably buy or rent a castle to make the next record, and we want to do shit that's just so strange, because it's like we wrote a whole record at a beach house because it was inspiring. And
We're writing.
pandemic, you couldn't be anywhere else.
We're
besides
writing
the
the
ocean.
script for like the graphic novel series. We're putting it in like movie form, and so like it has to take place at a castle chateau situation. So while we're doing that, we'll record the album there.
Now, I heard a rumor there could be a big director attached to that. It's a rumor.
That's-
but
that's
it's,
I'm working hard.
it's a-
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day though, if you're happy with the work that you're doing every day, that's all that matters.
yeah. But it's a far cry, right? Because when I first met you, I don't think you had a house in Malibu you're riding in and driving fancy cars.
No,
and-
I think
So
I
you've
think,
come
but-
a long way, right?
Yeah, but
So-
it's like we still.
I think
But
we were
the-
like at the point where like we would have lunch and we'd have to pretend like we could almost pay for it.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, thanks so much for getting it.
you get one meal and you share it between the three of you. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still
Top
do that
ramen
stuff.
was a big thing when I was growing up. Did you live on top ramen at all? Was that ever? a thing?
Luckily, I think they got
No,
very lucky.
He had a hot plate
Hot
in
plate.
our
On
on
tour.
our
We would,
We
shuttle
would like
bus.
plug it into like gas,
Gas
stations.
stations.
Like if we
Yeah.
saw like an outlet, we would just get like a
For
fucking
potatoes.
100-foot
And
extension
I would
cord.
I would just get a bag of potatoes and some onions and some spinach and stuff.
We
and,
lived
like,
off potatoes and eggs
Yeah.
Mm.
for like
and honestly,
the
looking back,
longest time.
some of the greatest memories of my life.
Oh,
That's-
us
They
sitting
always
us,
are.
us sitting on like a little shuttle bus and like
No AC. I would go
fuck.
into the Walmart and buy a big bag of ice and fall asleep with it.
Yeah.
Oh my
Fighting over
God.
girlfriends and stuff like that. And,
But we've never.
No?
Luckily, we
Luckily,
don't.
we all have different
We don't
tastes in
have
women.
the same
Yeah.
taste in girls.
well, let's talk about the new record, right? Because
Yes.
you guys did it during the pandemic in
Yeah.
Malibu, it seems. And so you kind of created your own bubble.
Mhm.
I know that you weren't totally isolated because, as I said, I missed a couple parties at your house with the Post Malones of the world.
Yeah,
But,
Yeah, I had to end it at
it-
some point. It got to like the little Zan area of parties, and I was
There
like,
was,
you know
like-
what, Rem? Doesn't look like you're having fun. We gotta stop.
Yeah, I was just partying every day, and I just woke up with matching tattoos with Lil Xan, and I was just like, what is? I don't.
What is
remember.
that tattoo that you
It's
got?
a
with-
13
I got a
on his
13
neck.
on the back of my neck.
Okay.
And so we got like these matching tattoos, and I had no memory of getting it.
Mm.
And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna back off a little bit.
I
Pretty
almost
much.
felt like I had to protect him because I feel like there's vampires in Hollywood, soul vampires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you have some energy or some
100%.
brightness about you, they'll just
I agree.
But Lil
suck
Xan,
it
he's
out
a
of
good
you.
kid.
He's good. He's a
good
good kid, but his surroundings are
surroundings are not.
dangerous.
So you got in a room and you actually played live when you worked on this record. It wasn't done by file sharing because it was you really wrote it during. Well,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Malibu, I think. Did you set up equipment in Malibu?
So Malibu, luckily,
We
are
started
the-
off
the-
so chill though, which was a mistake at first. We were like, we could not write a chill album because the
'Cause
beach
we're
is
like-
coming. We were
Yeah.
like the Beach Boys. It
Yeah,
was
I was
Yeah.
gonna
great.
say be your Beach
I
Boys
understand
album.
Jack Johnson's music now.
Yeah.
I
We
get
had
it.
like boogie board time.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
It's hard to be
Yeah.
aggressive in Malibu.
Yeah,
It
It's
is.
just,
Well, the last record we did, we were in the
Joshua
desert
Tree.
in
Alright.
like isolation.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it was like
That's
the
why it's
hills have
heavy.
eyes. It was
Um,
horrible, and there was no fucking blinds.
I
For
don't.
some
I don't
reason
know.
in the
I
house.
don't know how you two wrote Joshua Tree because
Yeah.
like we're out there writing Massacres of the New American Dream and like
The desert's angry. It's sharp. It's pointy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
I
you
just
know
wanted
what
to
I
scream.
and especially on psychedelics too. You're just like, huh.
mean? It emphasizes its like
Yeah.
anger.
Yeah.
Well, No Love in LA is top 40 on the Billboard charts,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk
We
about that
did
for a
that.
minute.
Yeah, we've done the rock thing and we've been a rock band for some time and get
First
hires.
time charting though. Right?
First time on the alternative charts on Billboard. It's a very exciting thing. No Love in LA is obviously our most. I think it's like so honest and it's funny. It's like people are like, "Oh, the band's changing." So I'm like, "No, this is just like." I started the whole set. We bought a Mellotron before we went to the beach, and I was playing this little thing on and sent it to Remington, and he wrote the chorus lyrics in a text message back to me. I'm like, "This sounds great," and we had the song and did it. But being in the beach, it was so awesome. It was just like the three of us and Chris, and luckily Chris's computer broke. So when we were there, we weren't recording to the computer. We were just voice memoing everything. And then what we were doing was writing all the lyrics, getting every single chordal thing done. We would have voice memo recordings, and that was it. So it was the most raw form of writing music again versus us being in a session. Because
And then the rest of it we just did in his living
Yeah.
room
Yeah.
in the house. And,
And I think
Yeah.
you posted some, Sebastian. It kind of crossed some genres on the charts too, right?
Yeah. Doing rock and like all, obviously the goal is to get one of those songs to bring us to Billboard like 100, obviously. But I'm stoked with what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're
It's-
3 singles in right now, right? The
We
fourth
are.
single, Broken. Can we announce that?
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
We
You
just
got
announced
it.
it. You got it.
You got it.
Hey,
It's an
you knew
exclusive.
it. It's an exclusive
Yeah.
now. But yeah, no, like honestly, I think when does this air?
It's going to air like mid-December. And
Oh,
actually, we should talk
perfect.
about the Spin Sessions, which
Yeah.
was initially going to happen tonight, but we're pushing it back to December.
Yeah,
We're excited about that. So you guys will be the first band to perform on the Spin Sessions.
love it.
And we're going to make
So
it like
excited.
our NPR Tiny Desk concert performance and blow it out of the water. So super excited to have you. We've been talking about it on a few of the episodes, but not only do we have the friendship, but I'm super excited to have your fans there. You have the most
Absolutely.
amazing fanatical fans, which is
Yeah.
Yes,
awesome.
we do.
We got to find a place where you can crawl on shit and break
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
And
I think luckily
Most
with
definitely.
luckily with Remington, it's like from the fashion show. It's like just seeing how he uses people as his obstacles sometimes.
Yeah.
He'll climb on them. You
There's
know,
this fucking lady that was just like disgusted. She was like, I was like hanging
Hanging
upside
backwards.
down, and she must have been like 75, maybe 80, and she was just like, I'm not even gonna give you the satisfaction of looking up. She
she just
was
looks
not-
down. She didn't look up.
She was not fucking with me.
but she came to the show. So
No, that was at the fashion
fashion
show.
Oh, it was at
show.
the fashion
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
'cause you
Ours.
played LA Fashion Week
Mhm.
too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
We're forcing them to watch us.
Funny.
Yeah.
I think we're a really good pair to put on a fashion show.
Definitely. I 100% agree. So this record, you have LP that you collaborated
Yeah.
with, which is great.
Yes.
Any other
Yeah.
collaborations? Talk
we-
about the LP one. 'cause I
With
think
the
she's the biggest
LP's
sweetheart in the world.
awesome. I don't know if we can say that song title. We gotta hold something back. Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
well,
got-
well, this will be on mid-December, so.
But I don't know if I'll have that.
Yeah.
out. But anyways,
Okay. Anyway, you did a song with LP.
We have a song with
Yes.
LP. Yeah, she came in right at the tail end. It was funny. The song came to be. A lot of the music was wrote at the beach house, but when we were in the house as well, that song and the title track and 2 other songs were wrote. Probably our favorite songs on the album were wrote at Remington's house, just like in between Chris.
Yeah,
Wait,
Chris was like
Chris
literally
was the
like
slowest
laying in.
for the longest time. Chris was the slowest person. He would just sit there at the computer and like turn around and talk. And I'm like, Chris, let's work. And it'd be like 5 hours later, and we just talked. We hung out for a year and played music
Yeah,
for like
because we
20% of
became
it.
best friends.
Yeah.
And
Were you friends
so-
with him before that? or-
We were
Yeah.
briefly like good
We were
friends.
just on
Yeah.
tour all the time. I feel like we didn't have time to really hang out with anyone.
Yeah.
He became our best friend though through
Wow.
this whole process. Like
Yeah.
honestly, family. Like he cares so much about us as people and like our well-being. It's like really sincere, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Yeah.
funny. It's like we just put out this video of the Will Turn, and he came backstage, and there's not many people's opinions I really care and trust, but he just came up and he was like, I was legit crying. He's like, has pictures of himself crying, and he's like filming us.
Selfied himself crying.
And he's
like,
like,
at
he's
the
like,
show.
I've never seen you guys play before, and you guys are something so refreshing and so different and so honest, and which is, we know that because we've done it and we've lived it. No one's like choreographed the show. This is from trials and tribulations of doing.
But one of the
shit,
only
so.
issues in this band is we can have the greatest show in our lives,
We're
and
never
we'll get off
stoked.
stage and we're fucking pissed.
Yeah. Why
so-
though? Why
I
would you
don't
be
know.
saying
Just
just to be
something
angry?
goes
Remington
wrong.
would be like, the tempo was fucked and you'll be fine by 2 BPMs, and you're like, Remington, it was on click. He's like, I don't fucking care, and like,
Because like that's one thing when I'm like tired, everything seems like so fast. I was like, slow it the fuck down. And when I'm like 3 cups of coffee, and I was like, speed the fucking
Amp it
thing
up.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like Remington, it's the same tempo.
But that moment when Chris came into the dressing room, it made everything like, oh, okay,
We did
it was a good
good.
show.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sick. I
But
thought
you're
we
right, though.
should-
Your
yeah.
music does touch a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure you've heard incredible stories about how it's touched fans of yours and changed their lives. So can you recall like any story where it's really a fan came up to you and they said, hey, it really helped me get through this time period?
there's a lot, like I think in VIP, especially before a show is so like you need to be on and ready to go and be amped and like excited, like, you know, full energy, because you know it's a rock show and you want to be fast. And sometimes you go into VIPs and, you know, kids are sharing their stories with us, and there's some that are just so heart-wrenching, and like how we have been like last hope for their lives, and or they lost a parent and it's helped them cope with things. And it's just like there's things that like choke us up, and it's just like so emotional, and it drains you so much. And like hearing these kids' stories, and it's like we're there for them, and you're like, oh shit, now like you feel so bad, but you're so happy your music was there. But their stories are like so authentically them, and I think like it's, you know, that's what the characterizing of like a human being is. It's like gathering all these experiences, and if you can just continue to go on. And so it's like there's, you know, some of the shit's hard. It's
I
headaches.
Sam
think-
and
I think-
Chris
yeah. We had these 2 fans, Sam and Chris.
in London.
Unfortunately, they both passed.
Oh,
But
sad.
the mother actually came out to one of the shows, and she was just like, you were like their one source of happiness. And fuck, I've never cried so hard.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
gotta
God,
touch
that was,
you.
That was
And
fucking
she was like,
crazy.
I'm gonna continue to come to the shows because it's the only thing that like keeps me close to my like kids, you know.
And then
Fucking hard.
so yeah, those 2 will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, let's talk the new record drops when, because next year is
Yeah.
a big year for you. So
Yeah.
when does the record officially drop?
we
don't know yet.
We've been sorting that
We
out.
don't
We're
know
not
yet.
even gonna fucking say
It's
anything.
the good thing is we're gonna continue putting out singles, and you know, just trying to figure out the new lanes of things. I feel like when you put out a record, it just like gets thrown out there, and then they're like, when's the next one?
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember like right when we put out the Bastards record, I saw like 20 or 30 tweets to me going, I love the record. When's the next one? I was like, it's been out for 20 fucking minutes.
You
I
haven't
was like,
listened to the whole
Give
thing.
me some time.
That's the age we live in. You can
Yeah,
give
yeah.
infinite content, and they go, all right, what's the next thing?
The TikTok era, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the attention spans are very short, obviously. So the Youngblood tour, when does that kick off?
That is January.
That's
Okay.
gonna
and
be absolutely fucking
We're
crazy.
doing the
Awesome.
shrine.
Yeah.
I think the inside sold out, so it's moving to the outdoor
Amazing.
one.
Yeah,
Because you sold out the Wiltern.
we did the
right?
Wiltern. Yeah,
It's
That
sold
was
out.
amazing.
Amazing
Which
used to pass out flyers there, and now
we
you're
passed
selling
out we passed out flyers in front of every venue. And
Some
Yeah.
Arctic Monkeys there. Passed out flyers for that show.
I think we passed
Cold
out
Kids.
Lana Del Rey,
yeah, Lana's
Yeah.
over at the
and no
Outright.
one showed up. You'd think
Wow.
giving
Yeah.
a flyer to anyone.
We printed out and our mom would drive us, and so we passed out so many fucking
I
flyers.
mean, I guess
and then
if I could
nothing.
suggest to any band, it really like does one on you when you hand a flyer to someone and they in front of you just throw it away. You know, it like
Yeah.
gets
It
you
hurts.
motivated.
Definitely.
You know, it's like
Yeah, and definitely, you know, when you hand out like, you spend like a couple hours of your day, you know, printing out these flyers and then handing them out to people and then just seeing them all on the sidewalk. You're just
Oh,
like,
it's gut wrenching.
it really
I remember
is.
we were
It
in
fucking
San
breaks my
Diego. We were
heart.
passing out for playing a show at the House of Blues or whatever, and I don't know why we were playing the House of Blues when we couldn't even sell 5 tickets. That was the dumbest thing ever.
ambitious.
But I mean,
We've
ambitious.
always
There were still
been.
5 people there.
We literally
And
sold one ticket.
It was so funny that we passed that. We were like, "Oh, cool! There's a baseball game going on. There's like 70,000 people. Let's go pass out flyers." I'm like, the amount, like us dressed, standing in front of a baseball stadium. God, the amount of times we were called what everyone knows what we were called.
Yeah.
Like it's
But coming full circle to the Wiltern was a special moment
Definitely.
for sure.
But not I mean, when you're in Hollywood, everyone like is used to people dressing with personality. But
Yeah, but
in the
no.
Midwest, they aren't, right?
No,
So, like,
no.
no.
when you're in the Midwest, people are like, "Who are you got? What do you
You
got?"
got-
I remember
Yeah.
Someone tried to hit
Sebastian-
him with a car. In
Yeah,
Texas.
Sebastian asked for sourdough bread, and they're like, "You get your fancy ass out of here."
that was it was a, it
He was
a-
like,
no
"It's sourdough."
It was
Like, what are you
so
talking about?
Funny. It was like
That's gonna be your new nickname, by the way, fancy ass.
I like
it.
Never go to a
Brandon.
Waffle House
Yeah.
with him.
Never ask
Never
for
ask
sourdough.
for sourdough at a wall
Yeah.
house. They will laugh you out the
well
door.
for them though. I did walk in with a fur coat and a cheetah
Alright.
shirt and like you
Yeah,
know,
there you
funny.
And on that note, Broken, the new single, will be out, I guess, around the time you listen to this. And around the time you listen to this, the band will be performing for Spin Sessions.
We will be performing for Spin, but Broken will be out before the Youngblood tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Always a pleasure. I can't wait to have you guys on when I'm like 80 and, you know, you're 15
wait.
records in
We'll keep
and like
doing it.
I look like Santa Claus. It's going to be great.
And you got to be honest with us. If the music starts to get
Yeah.
boring, be like,
Yeah, well, I mean, every band
See,
kind
come
of
on
starts
now.
to suck after like 20 years.
We
when they
just
become
like
rich and
sell
famous.
the house, give all your money away,
Yeah.
and then
and
just
then write a better album.
better album.
By the way, any LA dates that have been announced yet or not yet?
just the Shrine.
Just
Yeah,
Shrine.
the
Okay.
Shrine,
And
yeah.
just the Spin Sessions,
Yep.
which we'll announce soon. We're working on that as we speak. So, guys, love you guys. Thank you for
Love you
coming
so
on.
much,
Love you,
man.
buddy.
So much.
And yeah, check out the new album, which will be out next year in the tour with Youngblood, Palais Royale.